I've been scarred and I've been bruised. I have learned just what to do. I need to leave my past behind me. I need to look to the future. No matter what will come, no matter what I've done, I know just what to do. And that's all because of you.
Happy Tuesday and a warm welcome back to my channel supporters, and welcome if you are new to our platform. I know we are there in the 3000 zone now, so we've got some new people. Thank you for giving us a chance, and for reasons best known to you, thank you for staying. We hope we make your stay here a progressive one that is of value. We find value in having you here. Thank you so much for choosing to let me into your space. There's something very sensitive about influencing people's thoughts and how they see life and how they see reality, because that's not something they can put aside. I find it doing joy, which I no longer want it now. So once you get into people's head, it's very sensitive territory, something that you need to take seriously with responsibility. Even the recipient, it's wise to be careful of what influences you make yourself available to. So when you decide this is an influence, you're open to an influence, you are prepared to accept, it speaks of the trust that you have in me. And I really appreciate that. And I think of it all the time I'm about to open my mouth. If I don't do harm by the things that I say, if it's going to bring you to a better place, and if I'm adding value to your life. So thank you for continuing to place that trust in my hands. I am looking after it well and with a great sense of responsibility. I appreciate you so much. As you can see on the screen, we're doing something most people aren't keen on. Today we're talking about forgiveness, and I thought, you know what, we won't necessarily be talking about forgiveness that's towards a transgressor or forgiveness towards ourselves. We're going to talk about forgiveness in general, and I'm hoping the principle can be applied both to offenders, people that have wronged us, and maybe to ourselves when we've let ourselves down. There's a beautiful video that we did. I don't know what it was called. I think it was called Managing Your Expectations, which was speaking of lowering, the pedestals and giving us a permission to be human. And I suppose forgiveness speaks to an acceptance that humans are very highly fallible. They let us down, they hurt other people, and sometimes the things that they do are unforgivable. Therefore, it can be quite challenging to reach a stance of thinking you're going to go against the innate desire to avenge. It's essentially, that's the take I'm going to give you guys on forgiveness, that it says nothing about the offender. It's literally a change of perception or a migration in thought, moving from one stance to another in the person that was wronged, almost like a pro-social kind way of thinking, because they deserve the peace. They're choosing to ascribe a particular meaning to a particular narrative so they can host better thoughts and so they can be lighter in their spirit and in their way of functioning. So essentially, that's the take I'm doing on forgiveness. It's deciding to go against the norm. The norm of humanity is to reciprocate things that people do to us, whether they are good, whether they are bad. People that smile at you, we smile back. People that do nice things for us, we're more inclined on doing nice things for them. People that give us experiences of pleasure, we naturally want to offer them the same thing in return. Therefore, when people hurt us, there's something pleasurable inside of us when we return the same favor and they can feel what they made us feel. So with those kind of people, I don't know the justification for that level of reciprocity in terms of social studies and everything. Someone who's keen can go check it out. But forgiveness is deciding I'm going to go against that. I am making a choice to go against that. My intuition says I should do as it was done to me, and the conscious choice I am making is to not to do that. And the long and short of it, for me, that's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness has a lot of value, especially for relationships. It's almost necessary for the growth and progression of relationships to continuously be an understanding that when restitution is always possible and reconciliation is always possible, there's things that make forgiveness really difficult. Even if people are prepared to, normally that is the need for closure. And I want us to chat a little bit about that. My problem with needing closure to come from another person, it's almost like you are saying you are unsure that it hurt as bad as it hurt, and you need them to come say, I really did hurt you. That's my issue with closure. It's like, are you not believing yourself? Are you not believing the injury that you sustained so much that you can't move on until they have said, yes, I've hurt you? Secondly, because it's out of your hands. Something about closure that isn't up to you. So if you're kind of waiting to progress until bazokunika le closure, it means you are kind of okay with outsourcing yet again the level of functioning. That is when you will integrate better narratives and better meaning making of the offense that happened to you. So for me, forgiveness is my conscious choice of a new meaning I will attach to what has happened to me. So closure is a big limitation towards forgiveness. Issue forgiveness because you've got forgiveness to give. Forgiveness speaks of the person that was offended, the quality of human that they are. It says nothing about that one. Also, stop waiting for it to be deserved. There's the greater likelihood that maybe they're not a fantastic person. Maybe they made a mistake. There's so many maybes. It's not something you can control. So whether they deserve or don't deserve, you only give forgiveness when you want to, when you've got forgiveness to give. Then you issue that card because you want to hand it out. You are making the choice to do that. Is the recipient worth it? Did they ask for it? Will they even appreciate it? Maybe not, but this isn't about them. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself because the price to pay for resentment is heavy. There's something about resentment and the nature of thoughts it accompanies that is destructive to mental health. This has been proven over and over again. There's also some resources that are needed for avenge plotting that may be better utilized in things that are of benefit to you. So deciding to take your resources back is about you, not about them. You don't even need to tell them that you've forgiven them. Like, that's completely unnecessary. That's you being kind to say, ndikuxolele. But kahle your xolo can be valid. Ungakhange uthi kuye, ndikuxolele. I have decided it's a gift I'm going to give to you. You can't give things that you don't have. So if you're giving forgiveness, it's implying that I've got forgiveness in my heart and therefore I will issue it to you. I know it's much easier for people that are Christian to forgive because they're kind of bargaining with the forgiveness they require from God. So in that's kind of how it goes, that if I offend every day and expect forgiveness from God, it's kind of something I'm prepared to issue to the next person. For non-Christians, it's a really difficult concept as to why especially if the post-transgression behavior doesn't look like we deserve a. So even for people that are still relating with one another, it's important to highlight to the person that offended that in actual fact your post-transgression behavior will convince me and encourage me, to issue forgiveness much easier to you. Forgiveness isn't pardoning. You're not saying you are pardoning Landoba Inzile. It's not forgetting. The reason we are even stuck in having to forgive is that the easier option to forget is not there. So akomduti ilibal. Don't excuse them either. You don't have to excuse them. You can forgive a person and they may still face the full might of accountability, especially if it's legal. And this I've decided to reassign different meaning to this transgression for myself so that I can move on. I want to adopt ways of thinking that are in support of my recovery. In shelving my experiences and episodes, I'm putting this in this shelf and I refuse to engage with it daily in my head. I refuse to let you rent space further than what you have rented when you offended me. That's essentially what it means. So, I read this book by Marianne Williamson, adopt that stance if you'd like. For me, the principle has a slight issue because it implies forgetting, but it was a beautiful principle to widen my perspective. And she said forgiveness is selectively and consciously deciding to remember selectively. So deciding that undenze A no B, and I'm making the conscious choice to remember A because I can support how I want to propel forward. Some other theories may be like, forgetting isn't the wisest way to go about it because I will belang. So choose the stance that works for you, but almost collect a perspective that is in support of kinder thoughts in your head because you deserve to live there. You live in your head daily. You want it to be a beautiful space to live in. You want it to be a kind space to live in, a non-hostile environment. And when someone has angered you and you are unforgiving, you are angry back to them. So meaning the things you are thinking with them, after and takes you away from creativity, from planning, from quality time with people that you love, from all other experiences that you could be having. Gogo busy hosta plot for yena. This is harder to apply when there seems to be perceived intentionality in the offense. You can somewhat see that there wasn't an intention to hurt you. I know forgiveness is really hard when there seems to be premeditation and intentionality behind the pain. But again, that speaks to the intention of the offender. And why are we thinking about the offender? Why is the offender a person of significance in what we are trying to do? If they broke the law, get them arrested. Apasteta ngawe, and the likelihood of you thinking about them repeatedly, and forgiveness is deciding, this is the narrative and meaning I'm writing to this thought. Now, same applies to forgiving ourselves. You know, the biggest advice I can give to someone that's attempting to forgive themselves, because you can't forget, because forgetting isn't always likely, perhaps start behaving in ways that you admire. Then it not only, it won't erase the bad that you've done, but it says I'm both capable of good things and bad things. And if you keep on increasing the behaviors that are pro-social, the behaviors that are kind, the behaviors that are good, the list outweighs the other one. So ayikho engenzekanga. It's not like I say acknowledge ba yenzekile. So if you have let yourself down, you can't go erase that now until you didn't let yourself down. Add the list of behaviors that are conducive to a healthier narrative about yourself. And then yisetla leya list. Same goes for if you wish to continue relating with someone that has hurt you. Open up the opportunity for reconciliation and making amends and restitution by giving them a chance to add the list of behaviors that balance the transgression. So akutwa yenzekanga, but then you get to look at them holistically, not split the good and the bad, but together you get to think there's more good than bad, and therefore there's more benefit than cost. I can still find satisfaction in relating to them. That's what forgiveness means. Forgiveness may be as simple as I'm opening up a chance for you to make amends. It can also mean I'll keep you at arm's length. I'm reassigning meaning to it. I don't necessarily want to relate with you again. But the long and short of it, change in cognition in the mind of the person that has been hurt. Shifting perspective in the mind of the person that has been hurt. That's essentially what forgiveness, that's all that is demanded of you. This is too heavy. I'm not prepared to pay the price of its heaviness. Therefore, I'm deciding to put it down. It doesn't involve the next person at all. If you decide to involve them, it's you who wants to relate with them. It's okay if you continue to forgive and you never even see them again. That's also okay. But peace of mind is something you are worthy of, and it's within your control to give it to yourself. Thoughts are something we've got influence over. Influence them to the direction that is supportive of the life you are trying to build. And the person that has taken from you, don't allow them to take further from you past the transgression. And if you are the transgressor, amends, restitution, and remorse make the likelihood of being forgiven much, much better. So perhaps consider that. Perhaps consider asking for an opportunity for restitution and to show that I'm capable of both good and bad, but given the chance, I'll do more good than bad, and I'm really, really sorry. Don't fake remorse, be really sorry. Be really sorry. So yeah, to better relationships, forgiveness holds value for relationship behavior. But most importantly, if you don't want a relationship anymore, it holds better value for your mental health. And this being a mental health channel, it may be a quality you want to adopt, even if you're not a faith-based person in terms of Christianity, simply because you deserve the peace of mind. And the cost to pay is too high, and it's not you who should be paying it, because it's not you who did something wrong. So yeah, give forgiveness a try. Either as a card to issue to someone else, or as a card to issue to you, but it speaks of you more than it speaks of them. Maybe they don't deserve your forgiveness, but you deserve the peace, and it's well within your control to give it to yourself. And me, I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here.